did you want to talk about, kind of Psychedelics Insight, in a little bit more detail, and obviously how you guys are going to be working with them, but also just, what they're doing?
Psychedelic Insights is based in Amsterdam. The owner of the company is Luke, and he created a unique situation that I really like. What he offers is a day retreat where you come in the morning, by noon you're getting medicated, and by 6 o'clock you're going back to your hotel or home. Most of the other, and they are retreats, by the way, instead of clinics, because a clinic is a good way to look at something where you go to get service and see a doctor or a psychiatrist. But here, a lot of these are really retreats. They're either hotels or villas. They have a room and board and full maid and cook and transportation services attached to the facility. And so it's really like going to a retreat in Arizona or a weight loss retreat. But they're doing this for mental health using psychedelics. And so Psychedelic Insights, what really intrigued me about Luke is his passion to help people, and some of the protocols he's put together with the psychiatrists to take the people through their sessions. And that's really what differentiates each different retreat, is the operating team. There are some really nice teams around the world that have come up with solutions besides the settings or the hotels or the resorts that they've taken over. The medical aspect of it, the intake technology, evaluating the consumer on their mental issues and health issues and concerns, the medications that they're on today, if they're going to conflict with the medications that they're going to give them. And the most important is a psychotherapy session that comes after, where the person has gone through their trip, let's say. They've gone and have increased their mental awareness, and they're prepared to now be questioned and pronged by a professional that will hopefully help pull out some of their mental issues or move them further closer to a solution where they don't have to take medications anymore in the future, or they can reduce 5 of their medications to 2 of their medications, which is progress in self and mental health. And so the outcome now is been pretty well received by people that have gone through these different programs. One of them in the US is a company called KetaMD, and you're going to see them launching shortly as well. And they have a full program that they'll be rolling out in the 50 states and using ketamine as the psychotropic, but using telemedicine as the platform. So their retreats are coming to your house in a neighborhood near you where you don't have to leave. They'll send you the medication, they'll give you the doctor and everything that's needed to be done electronically, and then evaluate you. And if you really needed to be part of a team, they'll send you to a local center where you can be part of an organization that will do like a Keta yoga of 20 people and take you through the process in a group session. So there's some interesting things that are going on. A lot of entrepreneurs out there looking at this sector. And we feel that it's a great time for Ehave to get our technology into their hands. So as they are taking in their customers and new patients, they're using our platform to collect the data and to document their experience. And then we're able to take that and then reuse the data sets by having a bunch of different botanicals that are coming in from these different retreats. And that's the strategy that we're going for today at Ehave.
For people, who are missing the big picture, maybe, obviously a lot of these psychedelic clinics are opening. You hear about them all the time. If you really look, if you even just Google the space, you hear about clinics here, clinics there. And like you said, kind of the retreats that are happening, in talking about Ehave and the data you can collect, obviously how you're going to help these clinics. So, Ehave is partnering with these clinics, obviously taking some of this data, but also helping these clinics clinics use their data that they're collecting to better help their patients and obviously better their business. Is that safe to say? Is there anything you kind of wanted to say about it?
Sure, it's a great point, Jason. It's a two-way street. The technology not only does it collect the data, but it analyzes it. It helps the psychiatrist, the clinician, the owner of the retreat evaluate the file of the patient, diagnose, also take the notes that are needed that a psychiatrist usually goes through after a session with a patient, and then documents it through so the owner can then follow up with the patient after the session or after the retreat is over in marketing, also in follow-up to see how they're doing 60 to 90 days after the medication, to see how long it's holding them together, the dosages that they've taken during the session, and then documenting that against time, and the different mental issues that they might have. Everybody has a little tweak to their mental issues, not all identical. And then at the end of the day, if we can provide them a booking system and a partnership with a travel agency, we're solving some of the well-rounded issues that these companies run into, which is A to Z, courtesy service, and that is something that some of them are doing well. Some of them are trying to get a system in place to do, and we're going to try to help everybody in some fashion or form. But there is a back end to it. You're correct. The owners of these facilities get to use the analytics to better their businesses. Yeah, the data collection tools are pretty interesting. We'll have a demo hopefully up on our site in the next few weeks that people can play with. But at the end of the day, the system helps drive. We look at it from a two-way road. One is Ehave will benefit from gathering the data that's getting collected, will benefit from monetizing and charging for the storage of the data, and knowing what that data is will help us as a company come to other retreats and other research companies, knowing what we have in our database. When you turn the tables around and you look at the retreat owner and the reasons why he would want to pay Ehave a fee for the technology or partner with Ehave and co-own the data, is for a bunch of reasons. One, each person in each retreat, they use different medications and different dosage techniques. Each one's operated by different doctors, so they have different protocols. And each one at the end of the day is a business, and those businesses have to run efficiently. And to run a business efficiently, you need not only know everything about your client, but you need to know everything about your client's past and your client going in the future, and then keep that in some kind of uniform system that you can easily attach and go into and understand what's going on with that client. Most of these retreats are one-time off opportunities. A repeat customer usually doesn't go back to the same retreat, and they usually try to find a different medication if the first one didn't work. So by integrating these retreats, almost like having an airline booking system, we hope that we'll be able to connect these retreats on certain data. So they'll keep their trade secrets, they'll keep some of their protocols secret, but on other data, hopefully we'll be able to have this community where they can exchange. Maybe there's a consumer that hits one in Holland and then ends up going to Jamaica. And if they're both into the same network, they'll be able to see the person's files, the person's medical records easier, and anything that makes it smoother for the consumer to book a trip like this by a click of the button will of course benefit the end user, which is the retreats themselves. And so we look at the technology today as something that is a necessity for certain retreats, and the retreats that have technology like this, because there's competition out there. We like competition. There are other companies that are going after the same consumers, offering a different technology. So, example is you have Coke and Pepsi. Both are great sodas. Some people like Pepsi, some people like Coke. We'll find some retreats that will use Ehave's technology, and then some will say that they already have their own systems in place, but they might utilize us for a booking system, or for a lead generation system, or for a back-end video dictation system. So we can offer a menu of modulars where they don't have to take the full boat of technology, but certain APIs. And so I think that going forward, you're going to see retreat business become more of a digitalized process than where it is today as an analog process. And the reason why I believe you'll see it more in the forefront as a digital process is because it's becoming more mainstream. Before, it was more back of the woods. A lot of people would not want to tell somebody that they've gone to a retreat before. It wasn't such a good thing to talk about in society. Sometimes people would look at you like you're a drug addict or crazy mentally because you're doing psychedelics. But I think that fast forward here in 2020, with all the mental issues that have come off from COVID and some of the other things that have caused depression and anxiety in today's society, that it's becoming more received. And as more of these companies like Compass and Akalai go out and develop drugs, MAPS with MDMA, they put it onto the forefront of the newspapers and on CNN, you're going to see more and more people interested in securing and helping their own mental health. So I feel that as the sector is going to blossom, they're going to need technology to keep down on human cost, because at some time, if they don't have technology, they're going to be paying a lot of money for people to take in consumers the old-fashioned way and book them the old-fashioned way. So today, I feel we're at the edge of the beginning of something that could be huge, and hopefully the sector grows to be something bigger than $100 million. And so I think as these drugs become more common and accepted in society, you're going to see more countries and more places open up these resorts. Like I mentioned, in the US, Keta MD, they're going to be opening up across the country here. And their first medication will be ketamine, but they're waiting for other drugs to come and be approved. And once they are, they'll be offering them as well.